guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be trying out one of the newer Maybelline foundations, and this is the Maybelline Super Stay Stick Foundation. Now this foundation says that it is a cream to matte stick foundation. I don't wear stick foundation, so I can't really give a comparison as far as this compared to some other stick foundation because I don't wear stick foundations. This is my first time trying a stick foundation, so I'm actually quite excited to see if I like this. Now, just right off the bat, what I don't really care for about this foundation or this packaging is this little applicator on the end. From what I understand, it's supposed to be marketed as a on-the-go foundation, something that you can take with you quickly, throw it in your purse. So this little sponge applicator on the end, of course, would be great for that. If you needed to apply this on the go, in the car, you're out of town or something and you just want to have a quick foundation application. Me personally, I don't like those, so I'm not going to be using that today. Secondly, when I twisted this foundation up, I noticed that there is a very small amount of foundation in here. Now, I don't know how much foundation that people typically use in stick form, but it seems like that's an amount that I would go through quite quickly because I do have a lot of discoloration, as you can see, hyperpigmentation on my face. So I do need a full coverage when I'm using foundation. So those are just the first two things that I noticed about this foundation that I feel like are kind of a for me. In this foundation, you only get 0.25 ounces, I believe. Where did I see that? Yeah, 0.25 ounces. And in a regular standard foundation, you'll typically get about a full ounce. So you're only getting about 25% of product for around the same price. Because I purchased this at Ulta for $11.99, which is not bad. You know, if you use your little $3.50 coupon, it's not too bad. But for $11.99, we're gonna have to see how this performs. So let me just give you a little bit of information. Okay, so let me see what it says here on the website. It says Super Stay multi-use foundation stick makeup is formulated with the cream to matte finish and pointed blender sponge for easy and quick application at home or out on the town. So yeah, it's supposed to be good for if you're out and about. Whether you're looking for a cream foundation or a contour foundation, this multitasking stick is a must-have essential that conceals, contours, highlights, and covers. That's a lot of claims. Our first all-in-one foundation stick features a cream to matte foundation and a precision pointed blender sponge that is perfect for applying cream foundation at home or touching up your look on the go. Okay, so yeah, like I thought, that is how they're marketing this stick. Okay, now I was going to do kind of like a Super Stay liquid side and foundation stick side and kind of compare how they wear through the day, but I think I really kind of want to just focus on the stick, so I'm just going to do the stick and see how that goes. Now the color that I chose is Mocha, 360 Mocha, so that's the same shade that I use in all of my Maybelline foundations, I believe, is the 360 Mocha. So we're going to see how this works on me today. Hopefully it will match. And I think today I'm going to use my Maybelline Master Prime by Face Studio primer and base. And this is supposed to blur and smooth. And so that's what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and prime my face right quick. Now I haven't used this primer in a while, so I don't really remember the finish on it. I thought about using my Maybelline Baby Skin primer, but since that's kind of like a silicone type primer, I wasn't sure how it would work with using a stick foundation. Since I'm not really that familiar with rubbing foundation all over my face with a stick, I'm not sure if that would be the best primer for me to use with this foundation. So I'm just going to go with this cream type. It's kind of like a loose cream type primer, and it seems like it will work well with me using a stick foundation, so we shall see. Okay, so it does seem like this primer is kind of dulling and blurring my skin, so that's good. Okay, so I'm not going to do any color correcting because when I am trying a foundation for the first time or testing it out, I do like to see what the coverage is without any type of color correcting. Like I said, I've never used a stick before, so I'm not even sure how much to use. Looks like a nice color. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm not using way too much. It feels really nice and smooth going on though. I do like that. Okay, I'm just going to use one of my Real Technique sponges to blend this in, and it is nice and damp. Okay, so I do like the color. It is looking a bit orange, but hopefully it will oxidize and kind of settle into my skin like they normally do. Because I believe when I looked on the website, I only saw about 16 shades. So I didn't see a huge shade range to choose from, but this most likely would be the closest for me. Okay, so just from that first application, the first layer, I guess, of application, I do like how it feels. It doesn't really feel super heavy. I can feel it on my face, but it doesn't feel super heavy. I feel like it did take me a little bit longer to blend out than my normal liquid foundations would take me, but that's not a big deal. And I can definitely see, now it says this is a cream to matte foundation, so I'm wondering how long it will take to completely mattify, because I do still feel a bit dewy or moist, you might say. But yeah, just on this first application, it looks like a pretty decent medium coverage. I am going to put a little bit more on my face and blend it out because I can still see some of my hyperpigmentation and my dark circles peeking through. Okay, so that's with me just adding a little bit more in specific areas to cover with a second layer, but I didn't go over my whole face with a second layer. So actually this coverage is quite nice to me. I am very curious to see how it dries down and oxidizes. I'm not going to do my concealer and powder and all that stuff just right off the bat, because I want to see kind of how it sinks into my skin. So I'm going to wait about 5 minutes and see just how matte it's going to get, and then I'll come back and add some concealer and powder, and we'll see how it works with that, if it moves a lot or if it stays put. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. I let this sit on my face just to kind of see just how matte it would get, and in my opinion, it's not very matte. It's not matte to me at all. I don't know if my skin or my face is just like super oily today, which I don't feel like it was any oilier than normal. I actually didn't even moisturize before I put on the primer. I just, you know, had did my serum this morning, so it's not really as matte as I would like for it to be, which is a surprise because this is supposed to, this primer, I don't know. It doesn't say that this is a mattifying primer. It just says that it is for blur and smooth. So maybe this primer is making it less matte. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to move on with some concealer. Now, this is the Maybelline Dream Brightening Creamy Concealer. So I'm going to use a stick concealer today as well. And so this is what that looks like, and it's in the color 60 Deep. and we're going to see how this is going to perform with this stick foundation. And I am going over this with a few swipes because I do like a more full coverage concealer. Now this concealer is quite creamy, very nice and creamy. It's not drying at all. Now this concealer is blending into this foundation nicely. It's not dry or anything like that. I'm not having any issues with how it's blending out. I just don't really care for how shiny my face is right now. So I'm like dying to put some powder on. But I definitely like how this concealer is blending into this. Not bad. I can't really see my dark circles, and my hyperpigmentation is covered up a bit. I can see it a teeny bit, but not so much that it's bothering me. Okay, so the powder that I'm going to use is my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. So I'm going to use some of this just all over my face. See how I feel about it. I really don't use this powder because I don't like loose powders that much because they're so messy and hard to control to me, but I'm gonna try it out today. Okay, so this is how the foundation looks with the loose Maybelline powder on. And this is what it looks like without powder. With powder, and this powder, I don't think I said, is the color 35 Deep. So the powder is 35 Deep. So I'm going to finish powdering the rest of my face. Okay, so after powdering my face completely, this is what it looks like. So I feel like it is a pretty good coverage foundation. I think that my skin looks pretty even toned, and I think the color match is a decent color match for me with the powder on top. It kind of, the orangeness kind of went away and it kind of blended nicely into my skin tone. So I do like that. What I don't like is it really does not feel matte to me. It really doesn't, even though it might not be as dewy or shiny to some other people. The type of matte foundations that I like them to be super matte, and I feel like the only reason why it looks this matte or this dry is because of the powder. So it's okay. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face. I think I'm actually going to film another video trying out an eyeshadow palette while I'm testing out this foundation, and I'm going to come back later on in the day, show you how the foundation held up, and kind of my thoughts on, I'll try my hardest not to pat, not to blot, but I'll just tell you my final thoughts on a day wear for this foundation. So I'll be back. Hi guys, okay, I am back doing a check-in. It's later in the evening, and I wanted to just come back and kind of give you guys an update on my feelings for this foundation. As you can see, I did the rest of my makeup, you know, blush, a little bit of contour, my eyes and all of that good stuff. But I have been dying to blot my face, powder my face. I'm not as greasy as I have been with some other foundations that I've used, so I will say that, but I definitely am shiny in this area and definitely around my nose. You can see I'm very shiny on the sides of my nose. But overall, it seems as though the foundation is holding up. Like I said, it's been about 5 hours since I put it on, and I just wanted to come in and do a check with you guys for this foundation. It's nowhere near as matte as I like my face to be. I don't like to shine at all with my foundation, but as far as how it's holding up just in general, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, actually. I've had foundations do worse. So just overall, my thoughts on this foundation stick is it's definitely something that I would throw in my purse if I just wanted to have something to touch up in an emergency situation, for sure, because it does have this little sponge applicator on the tip, which looks like this. But you know, I think it's good for that. But as far as using it for my everyday foundation or a foundation that I would gravitate to, I would say no. I don't know if this is common for stick foundations, but just my personal preference, it wouldn't be my first choice. So that's just my thoughts on this foundation. I say my personal opinion is you can pass on this, quite honestly. To only get 0.25 ounces of product for the same price of a regular liquid foundation, I really don't think it's worth it. I don't know how long this is supposed to last, but my opinion, you know what? Wait a minute. Okay. So I have this Maybelline Fit Me Stick Foundation that I actually have only used to clean up under my eyebrows. I've never used this on my face. And so it looks like there's really not that much more in my Maybelline Fit Me Stick Foundation. This has 0.32 ounces. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but let me just kind of compare. Yeah, so you do get a little bit more in the Maybelline Fit Me Stick Foundation than you do in the Superstay stick. So yeah, just with that alone, I would say that this is really, to me, not worth it. It's just not. But I guess if you love this foundation, it might be worth it to you. But for me, it's not. So I think I am going to go ahead and use up this stick foundation. Since I did purchase it, try it out a few more times. Maybe I'll fall in love with it, who knows? But just my initial thoughts is it's not matte enough for me, and I don't think it's worth the price. So that's all I have on this Maybelline Superstay Stick Foundation. Hopefully you enjoyed my little mini review and check in on how it held up for at least 5 hours. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles!